Ryan and Kevin, they're spitting the truth, keeping it real, keeping it orange and blue. Talking recruit, who's next in line? Line our pride, it's about that time. Orange and blue, yeah, that's how we do. Post-game vibes, breaking it through. Ryan and Kevin, the crew that you knew. Keeping it fresh, keeping it orange and blue. From the court to the field, every play, every step. Debating the cause where the game is at. Who's rising, who's falling, who's making the cut. Line 9 for life, never stuck in the rut. Okay, recruiting buzzer got the inside line. Post-game chatter, they're always on time. Breaking it down, they're the voices you trust. Orange and blue, yeah, they repping for us. Orange and blue, yeah, that's how we do. Post-game vibes, breaking it through. Ryan and Kevin, the crew that you knew. Keeping it fresh, keeping it orange and blue, yeah. So tune in, lean back, let the wisdom flow. Ryan and Kevin with the knowledge they throw. Line 9 Nation, this one's for you. Forever proud, keeping it orange and blue, yeah. Orange and blue, orange and blue, yeah. Orange and blue, orange and blue, yeah.
Let's do our stuff great. The gritty, grimy, sit down and guard the ball without fouling and go rebound, that's the stuff. Have some tenacity, have some mental toughness. Remember, nobody plays harder than us. Nobody. 40 minutes, it's what we get for 15,600. 40 minutes, and then we get to go do it again the next night. But it's about building, it's about building.
It's fascinating right now to see the experiment that Brad Underwood has put together in Champaign. I mean, he's done a hell of a job. They've been relevant every year lately.
Illini have done it! I say hello. Better open your eyes, baby.
Illinois is the Big Ten tournament champion.
Pop the champagne. They're Big Ten tournament champions. And the Big Ten championship is in Champaign.
That's who we are! That's our identity!
Welcome to another episode Keeping It Orange and Blue. I'm Ryan Schroet, joined as always by Kevin Ducey. Does that get you ready for anything, Kev?
Yeah, actually it does. You remember that scene in Major League when Coach Lou Brown comes out and he talks to the team, and then Tom Berenger says, I guess there's only one thing left to do then, win the whole fucking thing, right? And then yeah, that's kind of what I feel like watching that. Like, it's like, I feel like Serrano and Willie Mays Hayes is like, yeah.
Mine's like the pitching coach, Howard Stern, and Rookie of the Year. Let's play some ball. Let's play some ball. Let's play some ball.
We found the treatment, hot ice.
Yeah. So welcome. We appreciate everybody, all Illini fans watching, tuning in anywhere. If you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, we appreciate you there. If you're watching from there already, awesome. We all appreciate the subscriptions there on YouTube. If you're watching on X, if you follow me or Kev or 200 Columns, man, we really appreciate it. So tonight, we're going to be discussing Rutgers, Illinois. Illinois got a big win yesterday, 35-13 over Rutgers. We're going to talk about things that really look, different from Washington, and heading into a big bye week. Illinois at 6-3. So many good and fun key takeaways from that game. And then, for the most of the show today, we're going to do our Big Ten hoops, Illinois season predictions and preview, where we each, give you where we think Illinois is going to finish the year, not just in the Big Ten, but where this team can go. And I'm excited to do that because, I think this team's going to be special this year. So, Kev, let's start with let's see what we got here in the chat before we get to it. Nathan Durst, thank goodness for basketball. Yeah, love the intro. Yeah, that video just got me hyped earlier, so I wanted to put that in here. So as we start here, Kev, your thoughts from yesterday. I'll let you go first. Illinois, Rutgers, we made our predictions previews. What was your first takeaway or key thoughts from that game yesterday?
13 points. 13 points. And I know that there is – it happens to all of us as fans we live in a vacuum or a bubble as fans. Because frankly, Ryan, most of us only watch our team play, right? We got lives, we got responsibilities, we got things to do. I think that especially you do so more than me. You watch our opponents, you watch our past opponents, you watch our upcoming opponents, you watching to see what they do. Probably better than most, actually. I think that there's a tendency to get into a vacuum and look at, who is this team that we just allowed 13 points to? Well, dude, they hung 28 and 400 yards on Iowa. That's the number 2 defense in the country. They hung 387 yards and 28 points on the 15th best defense in the country, which is Minnesota. They hung 493 yards on Washington. Like, this team can put up offense, and that's a very good offense. We held to 13 points. Not only do we hold them to 13 points, like the final stats are going to be a misnomer. We held them to 162 yards in 3 quarters. So that was fantastic. And then the other part is, like, if I'm going to sit here and give praise to what the defense did, and I'm giving it, not so subtly to a certain individual here for how the defense played this week, I got to give it to the other side of the ball as well. As I thought Barry Lunny was exceptional, especially in the red zone. Some of the creativity that he shows, it's pretty freaking cool to be an Illini fan and a Bears fan and see the creativity from both the offenses and what they do. That's pretty unique. So kudos to him there and what he did. Got Luke's legs going a little bit. There's some things we need to clean up on both sides of the ball, but man, it was a great game. I mean, I think we could have easily hung 40 points on them if we wanted to. We let off the gas at 35-6. We're up 35-6. I mean, we could have made that game 45-6 pretty quickly, pretty easily, had we really wanted to go and throw a knife in them. And that's not really Brett's style. And I think he and Shiano probably get along pretty well. So it was a great game, and they handled business. They did exactly what they needed to do. They won. They covered. They looked good doing it. They're on to the next step, which is another bye week. Good Lord, can Aiden Lawfrey stay healthy, please? Because he looked like our best back when he played. So that'll be key. We saw some things. We saw Gabe Ackett's unleashed, pass rush. We were getting downhill, and man, we shut their water off in their run game. That was a completely one-dimensional team. Here's the thing. I know Illinois fans will watch that game and they'll say, well, Callie McManus missed some throws. Yes. The thing about missing throws sometimes is it the quarterback just missed a throw, or are the wide receivers not going to the place that they're supposed to go because they haven't seen something as disguised in coverages? Or are we showing things that are surprising them to make them mess up? Yeah, some of them are on the quarterback, but some of that needs to be credited to the defense as well. So great game overall.
Yeah, so I was there, Kev, in your seats when you can't make it. We kind of, I've sat in your seats a couple times this year, and good seats though. I mean, the east balcony, you can see everything really well. And man, I can tell you though, as much as the crowd really was there. They showed up, and they brought it, man. And I believe it was 50 I said 50 to 55,000. I really do believe that's what it was.
Right.
People were shitting on the students. I think it was about 75% of the student section was there by middle of first quarter. So,
yeah, the early pictures showed about 25%. So I think that's where a lot of the frustration came in there.
Yeah, and it wasn't misleading. It was misleading to a degree. And I want everybody to know that I took a picture of what it actually looked like at the start of the second quarter. They were filing themselves in. And it wasn't just them, by the way. The full crowd wasn't there at the start of the kickoff. So it wasn't just the student section that decided to show up a little bit later. But, Brett understood that. He knew it was a chilly morning. But by middle of the first quarter, I'm telling you, most of the fans were there. So I'm proud of the fan base that showed up to support this team, and they have all year. So that is one thing. I know that's got to be really encouraging for the staff and the players to see that no matter what, the fans are upset because they care.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
And that matters. There's a lot of programs that was apathy. Is that the right word, Kev?
Yeah.
They just don't care. They just could care less.
Yeah, right. We host this show 7-8 years ago. We don't get anybody to tune in. Nobody, we get 1 or 2 people probably, and so.
Yeah. I may get people who I'm doing my recruiting stuff because they just want to hear what, especially
Right.
basketball, but not the amount of people who've been tuning in for football for sure. So, but now just wanted to say that credit and kudos to the fans because, I was there with you and man, we showed up, we were loud and the team responded. They appreciated it and they showed one of their best performances of the year, I would say for sure. Against an average Rutgers team, but a good Rutgers offense.
Yes.
And, to your point about Ethan Kaliakmanis, I'd say, 5 or 6, I'd say half of those overthrows were just because he was getting pressure too.
Yeah, that's the other thing. True. Yep.
And he was getting pressured, I think he got sacked a couple times and 2 or 3 of those throws were just because he was hurrying up because he had pressure in his face. Couple of those out routes that he missed through, later in the game were just kind of bad throws. But also their 206 of their 300 yards, I think they got like right a little over 300 or right under it. I know it was one of those two. I looked at the stat sheet, the start of the fourth quarter. By the way, Illinois was literally just running the ball the whole fourth quarter. So if everybody knows that. So 35-6, right? Illinois was just running the ball. Rutgers is trying their damnedest, their hardest. They're challenging catches. They're, calling every last timeout they can, just scrap anything they can, to score. Proud of the goal line stand though, with no time left. Shiano was doing anything he could, man. And it's like it was annoying to me a little bit, but I'm glad that they got that stop. But the key here is this: that Illinois, as you mentioned, only had given up 166 yards, Kevin, going into that fourth quarter.
Yeah, so, they had 150 in the fourth quarter where we're playing prevent, right?
Yeah, Illinois was playing prevent and gave up about 40% of their yards were in the fourth quarter of them literally just okay, let's run this clock out. Go ahead, catch your little 8-yard route here, your slant. Just milking the clock all the way down, taking the whole fourth quarter for them to try to get. They only scored 7 points, by the way, doing that.
Right.
Illinois held them that final long, slow, methodical drive, So just a really good performance from the guys. I think it showed, too, for many people and fans, when Illinois has had a brutal last 5 or 6 weeks. It's, if you even let's just keep it how it is. We'll go ahead and throw Purdue and Western Michigan in there with some of that. Western Michigan, really good MAC team, by the way.
Yeah, 5-4.
They're going to be 8-4 probably to end the year. And should have beaten North Texas, who may even get the CFP bid if possible. They were beating them. But let's start with Duke. Duke went into Death Valley and beat Clemson yesterday. They're 5-3 now. They beat North Carolina State, who just beat the brakes off Georgia Tech. They should have beat Georgia Tech. Duke's has a high probability if they take care of Virginia, which Virginia is on, have lost several times this year.
Yes.
They've been let off the hook. To me, they're a fraudulent 8-1 or 7-1.
Yep.
Duke's going to beat them in Durham. I really feel that way. And I think Duke has a chance to play in the ACC title game. So we'll start with Duke and work your way through to Washington. Illinois has had a tough ass schedule. They've had 5 of the top 10 efficient. Yeah. 5 of the top 8 efficient quarterbacks in the country, and Luke Altmaier's in there. So if you think about it, if you take Luke out, right, that's 7. They've had 5 of the top 7 quarterbacks in the country they've had to face. So they ain't really had much, and then you get Ethan Kaliakmanis, right, who's 10 or 11. So they have not had just slop back there. You've been playing guys that if you aren't on your P's and Q's, man, they're going to pick you apart. And so it was good to see Illinois bounce back in that way. The offense and Barry Lunny, as I tweeted yesterday, Kev, it was a masterful performance from Luke to to carry out what Barry Lunny called. And Barry Lunny was just, I love the trickeration around the goal line. The fake, you looked like Luke may have passed it to Arkin, who was covered, right? And then he
Yeah, it
ran
was a read. And he wasn't there, and he took it, right? So
yeah. And so, but Lunny hinted at it, Kevin, in the weekly press conference. He said, I think we're going to use Luke's legs a little bit, this coming for the rest of the year. Luke showed you, man. I thought he had 100 yards. I guess he had 88. I don't know. That sack, I think, took some yardage off of him.
And then once you get up big, you got to shut that off. Like you don't run anymore. Like you just once you're up there, you don't run anymore. Like
So it was just fun to watch, man. It was like just easy money, house money, man. It was just like from watching just from up in the stands, I'm like, this just looks too easy. You know what I meant? Like I wasn't even worried on a couple of times when we got stopped on like 2nd and 9. I was like, okay, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. I was like, they're going to pick it up, and they did. If Luke got time back there, he found Bowick over the middle. He would just little Hudson Clement, and then that one drive, Kev, was just like he was toying with Rutgers. It was it's 3rd and 3. Oh, it's 4th and 3. Boom, he's going to draw him offside. You knew it. I was like, they're going to jump offside, and he was. Just
I think one of the really key plays in the game was on the 99-yard drive, our first drive, when Luke found Hudson Clement with a defender in his face. I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback stiff arm a defender from the pocket and throw the ball to a guy. And from where I was seeing, you obviously saw it better. I thought there was a chance, like once he broke that first tackle, I thought Clement would have that chance to house it, but obviously it wasn't the case. But that was a huge play by Luke. Huge.
Yeah, a huge play. So Luke had over 310 to 20 all-purpose yards, 88 rushing yards, and 226 passing yards. If let's be honest, if he'd have played the full game, you're looking at close to 300 passing yards and over 100 rushing yards, and that's with a full game.
Yeah, so, if the defense played the way we expected it to play, Luke probably passes for 300 yards and rushes for 100, right? But the defense made it so he didn't have to do that. So,
and that was 5 total TDs without a fourth quarter of him really trying. So who knows what he could have really done? I called for a career day. I think 5 touchdowns was a career day for him. Not sure, but I think it is for him at Illinois, 5 touchdown career day. But shout out also Hudson Clement, man. He really made up for any drops you'd had already this year. That was probably one of the best catches, man, I've seen in a long time for an Illini receiver. And I couldn't believe it from up there. I was like, did he hold on to that? And he did. And so, yeah, Hudson Clement, man, hell of a game for me there. I think we all knew what he could do if you watched the West Virginia highlights. I was telling people around me, I was like, they're like, was that Clement? And I'm like, man, I was like, he was due for that. I said, I saw his West Virginia tape, and he was making all kinds of crazy catches.
His West Virginia tape showed a lot of contested catch ability, a lot of really good run after the catch. We've seen glimpses of the run after the catch. The contested catches so far this season coming into yesterday were not good. And so he had 2 really tough contested catches. Nice to see. That's an added weapon that will help us in the final 3 games of the season. So, yeah, that was nice for Hudson Clement to get his first touchdown as an Illini.
Yeah. And so, so as we're heading into the bye week, it looks like pretty healthy. It sounds like Dylan Rosiak, if he can continue his progress through the bye week. It's nice to have another one to get some guys fresh and healthy. Dylan Rosiak. Sounds like Leon Lowry will be ready for Maryland. And other than that, seems like everybody else will be pretty good to go who's not already out for the season. So good to see Daniel Brown get a little pressure. He was
he's getting after it, man, for sure. So
with that, Illinois 6-3, trending like to me that they're going to have a chance. They keep winning. It might be after the Wisconsin game, if you get to 8-3, that they'll probably start getting back into the rankings and all that stuff. So, probably not going to make into the top 12, but I think you keep winning, you're going to get yourself into that top 20 range come Thanksgiving. And we'll keep talking about that as the weeks progress. But still, a big-time bowl game ahead. I think for Illinois, will probably end up playing an SEC opponent. Could be the Music City Bowl, right, Kev? Could be the ReliaQuest Bowl.
We're going to Florida. We're going to
Florida.
Florida.
Could be Citrus or Florida. Yeah, I think ReliaQuest may end up being where it is, but that's okay. Still a lot of fun to be had on the football side. So my last thing here for football is kudos to the whole staff, the players, for taking it personal, for really giving a damn and saying, just because we may not make the CFP doesn't mean we can't do something special and do something that this program hasn't done, Kevin, in over 30 years.
Yeah, and on top of that, what it hasn't done in 30 years, as I was looking up the stats, is we haven't had a winning conference record in back-to-back seasons since I think 92, 93. And those teams went like 5-3, 4-3-1. We went 6-3 in conference last year. Have a chance to match that mark. We need 2 of the last 3 to have a winning conference season. So that's important. That's one of the things that I find very frustrating about some of this. Like, well, we didn't make the college football playoff, so we should be upset. And like I said, I think it's the Signetti effect has a little hand in that. But we got a chance to have a winning conference season back to back. So great job by this team. I'm really encouraged. Get a bye week. Maryland goes to Rutgers next week after getting their brains kicked in by Indiana, the best team in the country. Yeah, you heard it here. That's the best team in the country. I stand on that business.
We'll get a good gauge of, like, you know, to me, Maryland, to me, it doesn't feel much better than Rutgers. They may be pretty similar. They may be a little bit better than Rutgers overall. But to me, a game where Illinois is going to be favored by 10.5 at least, I think. So, yeah, well, just a lot of fun and excitement.
They can't run the ball. We'll make them one-dimensional. Their quarterback can move a little bit, but he's not a runner. I see us dialing up a similar defensive game plan. So, and we get a week to get healthier. So I love it. I love it. By the way, I know that we lost off the bye week to Washington. That makes Brett's record and off of bye weeks, if you count the starts of seasons, to like 12-3, and counting bowl games, bye weeks and whatnot, undefeated at home to start the season or off of bye week. So that's another key component there.
Yeah. We're not really hitting champagne toast because I want to really delve into this hoops preview and stuff.
Hey, we could just do a couple quick ones.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and
do your offense and defense, and we'll go.
So for offense and defense, you know, obviously Luke Altmaier. I'll just go ahead and give you Luke 5 touchdowns. I mean, like I said, 320 all-purpose yards. Deserving of that, man. Deserving of that. And for defense, man, so many guys to choose, but I'll say just Gabe Akis for getting back into the sack. That, you know, he was challenged to be better, and he was allowed to really do what he does best with the schemes. And I think I'm setting you up for a really good defensive toast, Kev. So I wanted to make sure I did that. So
no, and I think you took the 2 most obvious ones, the 2 most deserving ones, right? By the numbers, those 2 guys deserve it, and we would be a fraudulent show if those 2 guys weren't missed. But I also think that there's a couple guys on the other side of the ball that need to be mentioned, and I'll go with Hudson Clement on offense. His best day is on the line. 2 really tough catches. Key third down pickup there on that 99-yard. I think it was a third down. That was just critical for the team on offense. So Hudson Clement, we already covered that. Defense, I want to give 2 here. I'm going to say James Kreutz played his best game as an Illini.
Okay. Yeah.
I was so impressed with what he did as a backup. And then I want to give the entire secondary some love. Rutgers had virtually no yards after catch, almost 0. When they made catches, they were contested catches, and they have got big, good, wide receivers. But those guys were either going to the ground with an Illini defender draped on them or tackled immediately. That secondary did a hell of a job. So that's mine. James Kreutz.
You know what? And I have an honorary one. I thought you would hit this. How about this? How about Aaron Henry for calling a hell of a game?
I'm biased. Barry Luddy and Aaron Henry both get them too. So
yeah, you know, so don't have my drink available, but here's your champagne toast, you guys.
No, SDR, I'm going to the ReliQuest Bowl where the Illini will be in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah. Hey, I'm cool with that. So let's get to it. There's a lot of people already messaging me saying, come on, let's get to hoops.
We are a basketball school. Let's be real.
So we are here. So let's get to it. Illinois' very first game of the year is tomorrow. Jackson State, 7:30, State Farm Center. I'm about as pumped as this season as I think I say it every year now with Brad Underwood's teams, right? You know, last season, the excitement of the young new guys, but this year is just different. You know, it's older guys, but still, you know, a bunch of new players. So let's get to it. We'll go. Illinois starts Jackson State 7:30 tomorrow. BTN.
And you'll be watching football, so.
No, I will be. Okay, I've already made this clear. Illinois sports take the cake for any professional sport.
Same here.
Cardinals, Cowboys. Forget that.
Same here.
Yeah, like I know how much you love your Bears, dude. But let's say Illinois was in the CFP and the Bears were in the playoffs. Which game would you watch? So if you had to watch one,
I'd be at the Illinois game.
Yeah, there we go.
Right, like that's like it.
Yeah,
no,
I might be checking my phone, right? If the Cardinals were in the World Series and Illinois was in the national championship game, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'm cool, but I'm watching Illinois. So
my closet will tell you all you need to know. I got about 47 Illinois hats, shirts, sweatshirts, pullovers. I've got like one Bears pullover, one Bears hat, one Cubs pullover, one Cubs hat. Yeah, it's Illinois all the way.
Hey, and Sean Garner, no more ruining anything. Don't tell him the Bears won today. Okay.
It's all good, buddy. I'm sorry for the outburst, but yeah, when we're doing the show and there's like a big sporting event going on, I typically will tape it and watch it later. So if you don't mind, just don't say that if you don't mind. Like if it's going on during the show, if it's already happened, trust me, I know.
So Illinois, I'm noticing, I'm watching trends. Like our guy Raphael Davis, won't give a prediction on Illinois. Like everybody's talking about, Purdue, right? Michigan, UCLA. I'm like Illinois guys, Illinois. I just think they just have so many unknowns with the Euro players. And I'm not even necessarily saying because of Mahalo. Like I think we know how good he can be, but he's kind of he would be an X factor to me, but it's how good we know David Mirkovic is. Like we know that, and no one is putting him on their like freshman teams or all freshman teams who they think the top freshmen in the country is. I think after the Texas Tech game, I think everybody's going to be singing his praises. I genuinely believe that. And that's coming soon. But now Tomislava Visic is ready to go. I know they're going to be working him maybe 20 minutes first game of the year and then slowly working it up to closer to 30 probably by Texas Tech. But yeah, okay. I hope Raphael didn't say that. Anyway, so not just the depth of this team, Kev. I think the new philosophy they're using with their new coach from Colgate. Yeah, from Colgate.
Sam Crocker, yeah.
Crocker. But just the length, the skill, the size of this team, even how good the freshmen can be, I think, with Brandon Lee being a defensive dog who can make open shots. And, Brad Underwood's just been talking and praising these guys. So I will say this. I'm not going to get right to what I think they're going to get to, but I really do think that this team can challenge for the Big Ten title this year. And I think, Jay Bagan, by the way, who couldn't join us tonight, has them finishing third. So, which could be a top 10 team, which I genuinely think that Illinois is going to stay this whole season. Once it gets rolling, I think they're going to be a perennial, pretty much top 10, 15 team. But just so much depth, I think, and just having guys like Ben Hummerkaus, who doesn't really have to have a specific pressure, Kevin, or role other than come in. They're going to ask you to try to hit open shots. If you're going to get open shots, right? And we're going to ask you to come in and rebound a little bit, right? And play some D at times, not being forced to be the guy that you're going to be taking 10 to 15 shots a game. And I think last year was just a lot of pressure on him. So, what are your thoughts on that, guys knowing their roles this year?
Yeah, I think what you have a lot in this is you've got guys there's not a lot of ego, right? I don't think there's any guys who are going to shot hunt on this team. And I'm not saying that I think that, Kasparis was shot hunter, but I think that he felt the pressure to be the guy and go do things when he didn't have to do things. And I think you saw that contributed to some negatives for the overall team. I don't see that this year. I think it's Kylan Boswell's team, in my opinion, and I see guys who are just really willing and open and accepting their role. I don't think I think they're going to find the open man on offense and shoot. The challenge with this team is going to be defense. I do think that this team is more athletic than people give them credit for, but they're still not a super athletic team. And they're very long and they're very big. And like Ryan, you said, they're very deep and you can run some things in there. I do think Ty Rodgers is probably going to be back by about mid-season. That adds a defensive stopper, especially on the wing, a guy that's with tons of positional versatility defensively, a rebounder, a guy that this team doesn't really have. Last year's team, I think they struggled with they rebounded the ball extremely well. They could have used some defenders, but I don't think Ty was as much missed last year as he would be this year. So I think there'll be a nice add. And the guy that nobody is talking about on any of the shows, it's shocking to me, any of the national previews, and they're giving Illinois a lot of flowers. Andrei Stojakovic averaged 18 points a game last year in the ACC. In the ACC, that's still a good conference. Now, granted, they're not what they once were. They're behind the Big Ten and the SEC and the Big 12. They're behind all three of those conferences. They're the fourth best conference in the country. And I know people have said, well, is the Mountain West even better? Maybe, but the ACC still has good basketball teams, and they still have high-level recruits. And that dude averaged 18 points a game at Cal, and nobody's talking about him. And I know it's because he's a little bit banged up, and I think he's going to be fine. But
it's not like he just got off. Oh, he's just coming back from. He hasn't practiced off of ACL surgery or something. You know what I mean? Like he's banged up, but it's not that serious.
Right. And
I played against Florida. He just didn't.
Right. I think what this team has is a ton of versatility. I don't think we have a lot of guys. We have guys that are similar. Heck, we have twins, right? They're similar, but they're still different. Tommy's a better passer. Tommy's bigger. Tommy's more consistent. Zvonimir's probably more athletic, better shot blocker. The closest two guys that we have on the team, and they're still different, is Benham Rickhouse and Jake Davis, right? And those guys are still different guys. Ben's bigger. Ben's more experienced. Ben can do a little bit more on the court. Jake is really solid and knows his role. So that there's just a ton of, like you said, there's a ton of role clarity for a team that's not that hasn't been together all that much. We do have we have returners and Tommy and Kylan and Jake and Ben, Ty and those guys, but
there's enough cohesion. There's enough cohesion that
right, and you add in really tremendous versatile options like Stojakovic, like Mirkovic, like Petrovic, who will be there. He's not going to play tomorrow night, and that's fine. But he's going to add a difference. He's going to be a difference maker in getting into the lane and creating some things on that offense. And then you got a guy like Brandon Lee, you come off the bench and just be like, guard the crap out of him. And I've talked about all these guys and haven't even talked about Keaton Wagler, who's got all the flowers and showed out well against Florida. I think this would be a very good basketball team.
Even we didn't talk much about Mirkovic yet either. And that dude's like literally a mini Jokic out there, right?
He is. He's such a complete player. He's a
complete player. Like he is a guy you don't want to leave open for three. Like,
but it's interesting is like the Clough kid that is at Purdue and everybody's raving about. And one of the reasons why they're raving about him is because he rebounded really well last year. And that's one thing that every scout talks about at every level. If you rebound at the high school level, you rebound at the college level. If you rebound at the college level, you rebound at the NBA level. And David Mirkovic, if you're rebounding against Illinois State, you're going to rebound in the Big Ten. Like it's now you might not get 14, but we're not asking him to get 14. Get 7 or 8, 6, 7, 8, and he's a heck of a passer. And I think this team's going to shoot a lot higher percentage from 3-point this year. I think this is going to be one of the best offenses in the country. What Cam Crocker can do on the defense will be critical to how far this team can go.
Somebody in the chat, when you guys are hanging out in the chat lobby, get Sean Garner, get his attention back here.
For basketball.
we're talking Illinois, by the way. We're not talking Hugh Freeze. I'm not talking, whatever else he's got going on. Rayola's injury from Nebraska. Right here, Sean Garner. Focus. All right, so and I'll be honest, and Tomislav Ivicic, man, we really haven't even raved in about how good he's going to be, right? Talking about his efficiency, a top 12 efficient player in the country, who we're thinking that, man, he's off to a big year. And by the way, he played really well against Florida in his 17 minutes.
You see his right hand finish?
I did.
Yeah, I forgot the Big East raid. My bad. I'm still stuck in football mode, bud.
But the fact he played in a Power 5 conference, though, and averaged 18 points a game, right? You know, he had some huge games, man. He went to Clemson and put 30 up. So
yeah, Notre Dame, I think he scorched them. Had a game with 7 block shots. He is going to fill that. Tommy's going to find him on so many cuts down the lane. He's going to poke on people. Like, dude, this is a really good offensive basketball team.
The one thing too that I think you got to remember. So Brad is recruiting to a specific. They don't want mid-range shots by everybody. Just remember this. They want open. They want threes, layups, free throws. Remember this. And these are things that they are pushing hard, and they're programming into these guys. And Stojakovic is going to do well because he attacks the basket. So they're going to get him. He's going to get tons of free throws this year. As me and Kevin mentioned, he's not a great 3-point shooter, but he's going to have open shots this year. Going to get tons of layups, get to the free throw line. This team is literally just spread out with shooters. If you think about it, Zvonimir Ivicic may be a little more erratic and inconsistent, but dude, he's going to have games this year where he hits 5 or 6 threes, and then you're going to have games where Tomislav hit 5 or 6 threes. You're going to have games where Mirkovic hits 4 or 5 threes. Then you're going to have games where Big Ben Hummerkaus can hit 4 or 5 threes. You're going to have games.
And I think Kylan Boswell shoots closer to 40%. I think Kylan Boswell maybe even takes less, but takes better ones in the offense.
And so, and I was revolving into that. Like this year's teams, it's all good. Kylan Boswell, remember, really took a while to find that form, right? Last year, if you think about it, it was kind of inconsistent at times, really inconsistent. But then the last month of the year, Kev, as you raved about all March, man, he was one of Illinois' better players, if not the best player for a good chunk of the year. If you think about the Big Ten tournament plus the NCAA tournament, he was really good, and that looks like to be the guy that Illinois is going to have this year, his final year. He probably knows that. It's seniors die hard is something that Brad Underwood has always said, and I think he knows this is his last chance, and this team can do something really special. So you give Kylan Boswell open threes. I'm okay with that. So they're going to shoot a ton of threes. They're going to shoot a lot of free throws, and they're going to be around the rim shooting a lot of layups with these, big long arms of Zvonimir and Tomislav. And Mirkovic is, while 6'9", he's really good with using both hands around the basket. So. And I haven't even got to be how great Petrovic can be, because nobody really knows. But I tried to talk, the Sleepers Media, by the way, who gave me credit. So I'm going to shout them out on here. They gave me credit for posting the Petrovic clearing by the NCAA. At first they were not really sure. They were like, I don't really think he's that good. He only played 3 minutes. And I kind of messaged him, and I was like, he was the best player in a top-tier pro league, right? I just want everybody to know that.
Yeah, he hit 3 game winners in like a month.
Yeah, I was like, dude, it's not like he just played in this like Baltic Croatian league where there's guys who've only played for 2 years. They're playing grown-ass men where Tomislav played before he came to Illinois.
Yeah, and he was the MVP
of that league. He was the MVP of that league, the Adriatic League. So this isn't just some guy that's coming over here that like, he'll play about 5-10 minutes a game, score like 3 points. It's like, no.
He will have some Curbelo moments, though. I'll just tell you that right now. He's going to make a pass, and you guys are going to be like, what in the hell is he doing?
Yeah, he's going to do that, and he's also going to have games where he's going to have 8 or 9 assists, and you're going to be like, holy crap.
And get to the rim at will. He's lightning fast. So
thank you, Nathan. I'm hired. Great accent. Thank you.
Nathan Durst also said we will be better defensively and better rebounding. I think this will be a better defensive rebounding team. I don't know you can get much better offensive rebounding than we were last year, but that's because we missed a boatload of threes that caromed out for long rebounds. But I do think this will be a better defensive rebounding team, which is critical for overall defensive performance.
And just remember these last couple of years, if Illinois' defense just takes that next step to the next notch, Illinois is going to stay a top 20 official offense team. They just are. They're going to be scoring 80 to 90 points a game. And if you can be a team that you're like allowing 70, 75, you're going to win a good lot of games. So I know most people are picking Purdue, and Michigan is like Final Four national championship contenders. They've got UCLA, Elite Eight-ish. But I'm like, where's Illinois, everybody? Where are they at? So knowing what I know, and not just what I believe, knowing what I know about this team, there's a reason that I'm really excited about them. I think they should be people's dark horses, sleeper. I think, there's been so many things that could have went against Illinois in key moments and things this year. I don't know. I'm not giving they're going to win the Big Ten prediction. I just know they're going to contend for it and push Purdue, who everybody loves and thinks is a favorite to win, the national championship or the Big Ten. I know Illinois is going to make it very interesting for them. And it's going to be but what my prediction will be for this team, Kev, and I've told you this months ago. I told you Brad Underwood would get a team to the Final Four from Illinois before he leaves. I personally think, and this is my preview, this is going to be the team. So I think Illinois this year with this team, with this chemistry of older guys who are ready, who know it, who are this skilled, there's going to be a bunch, and your young players are quality, skilled players. You even got a guy like Jason Jackstis who can give you 5 to 10 minutes, and I feel comfortable, who could rebound the ball, block some shots, when we need to. I think this is a year Illinois breaks through and gets to the Final Four, and that is my prediction for Illinois.
That's a bold prediction. Obviously, there will be some matchup challenges that this team will face. Like uber athletic teams, I'm curious as to the way they look against Alabama on November 19th. It's the dude, Illinois. Kudos to Brad Underwood. When you play Texas Tech, Alabama, UConn, Tennessee, and we already know Missouri in your non-con, those are 5 tournament teams that you are playing in the non-conference from the Power 6 schools or whatever they call them, Power 5 schools in college basketball. That's impressive, and those are going to be some tough games. And what I'd really like to see Illinois do in those 5 games is go 3-2. But it'll be interesting to see where they match up. I'm going to predict at least a minimum of a second weekend, and I'm going to predict the top 4 finish. That's not really going out on a limb. I have some curiosity is like, how good is UCLA? Like, how much of a difference does Donovan Dent make? He's a really good player. Xavier Booker's running the 5 for them. Like, how are they? Like, he barely saw the floor at Michigan State. What are they going to do there? I don't see it. I don't know what that means for UCLA. I think they're a good basketball team, but I don't know that their front court's going to be able to survive. What's Michigan's backcourt going to be like? Are they going to be able to generate enough shots? Their front court is really good. Obviously, we got Yaxel and Mara and Merez. Can Mara stay on the floor? Can he stay healthy? There's questions there. The team that I've been tweeting about a lot, and I'm really happy we get them in our building. We don't have to go there. Washington is going to be really good basketball team.
Did you see that some people don't maybe have them not even as an NCAA tournament team on their?
I'm like, you got Wes Yates, Desmond Claude, that big German dude, Fiore,
Hans Steinbach, yeah.
Hans Steinbach, yeah, they're really good. And I think the Big Ten schedule sets up really, really, really well for Illinois. Illinois goes at Ohio State, who I think will be a better team than people think. They got Nebraska at home, at Penn State, who's terrible, Rutgers, who's terrible, at Iowa, at Northwestern, Minnesota, Maryland at home, at Purdue. Like they could start out with 7-8-0 before they play Purdue in conference play. And so I think Illinois is going to set themselves. The conference schedule is so weird now with the 20-game schedule and 18 teams is like where it's going to be. So,
I just have noticed a lot of these, Field of 68s, these big shows. Look, they they have to follow and try to talk about so many damn teams, Kev, that their season predictions and projections before are just they're so outlandish when we get to the middle of the year where you're just like, what? Like, there's no way to know really for every team, but like, none of those guys know Illinois like me and you do. I'm just keeping it real. Like, they don't.
Well, and there's also a level of it, like when we talk about a team like Washington. If you're Sleepers Media, if you're Field of 68, if you're Doster and or what's the show with Hummel and what's his name, Goodman. Like, I don't. Oh God, I hope he's okay. Where are these fan bases that you're driving eyeballs and clicks? All of those shows know you talk about Illinois, you get eyeballs and clicks. You talk about Michigan basketball, you get eyeballs and clicks. You talk about Purdue, you talk about Indiana. Well, talking about Washington basketball doesn't get you a lot of. I don't even know, like with like Sleepers, which is a Big Ten primarily. I know they talk about everything, but they really have a strong Big Ten contingent. What does talking about UCLA do for them? I don't know that it does anything. So I think that there's some of those teams that kind of get left out. I think the team that's kind of vastly overrated here is Oregon and Wisconsin. I don't see it with either team. I don't get the love for either one.
Jackson, Shellstad, and then Biddle or whatever.
Biddle, yeah, I don't know. So Brandon Lampy, I don't know much about USC. I mean, they lost Yates, they lost Claude. What do they have coming back? Like, did they? I know they hit the transfer portal hard there. I know they got some good players in the transfer portal. I don't know much about USC. And you know, we go to their place. We got the Southern Cal swing. Hopefully, some of our Illini fans can make the trip out there and go see them at SC and then at Pauley Pavilion mid-February. But I'm really excited, Ryan. I'm pretty confident this team is a second weekend team, no doubt. I think this is going to be one of the things last year's team lacked is a ton of cohesiveness.
Yeah.
Like I talked about earlier, I think there's so much role clarity. There's a clear leader on this team. And don't forget this, Isaac Trotter, who started out with 247 Sports locally. So he's a big Illinois guy. He's got some Iowa State contingents. He's now writing for CBS Sports. He talks about all the time the second-year transfer bump. The second-year transfer bump is like 30% better production across the board, somewhere between 20 and 30% production better. If you get 20 to 30% better from Kylan Boswell and Ben Rickhouse, what can this team be? And do you include the data hasn't been out that long with the Euro guys, but if you get that from Tommy as well, like where can this team be? So it'd be very interesting. I'm very excited about this season.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think with your prediction of a Sweet 16 at least, that then it boils just down, Kev, is to just the matchups, right? So, you know, so
that's the whole thing. Matchups and where? Like, how good of a season do we have? How well we run this non-con. If we can go 4-1 in this non-con, that would be huge. I mean, we go 3-2 is great, 2-3 is solid, 1-4 is bad. 4 like depending on how we handle that non-con gives us so much leeway in the Big Ten to drop that weird game that we always seem to drop. Because if you can get positioned the way that the tourney sets up this year, it's Indianapolis, St. Louis, and Chicago or something, some format of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of mirrors what we had in 2005.
Because Indy's the Final Four, right? And then
I believe
St. Louis is the first
Sweet 16
in Chicago.
I don't
United
know.
Center is the first and second round. Yeah, something like that. But part of the closeness and proximity was another reason. I'm expecting a big year from Illinois. Plus, I figured they'd get put in those type of pods. So there's a lot going on there. But I just feel very confident in this group. You know, David Mirkovich is a pro, dude. He's just, he's just an underrated pro. But I can tell you this, all the people that I talked to over in Europe as he was being scouted, and I talked to these guys. These are European scouts that get talked to the NBA teams, the GMs. They were all telling him, like, dude, this dude's going to be good, man. By the time he's 2021, man, he's going to be playing in the NBA. So Illinois knew this. They know this. Just like KJ, Tomislav's looking like a guy who's going to be playing in the league here soon. And even if Illinois ends in the Elite Eight this year, sure, you take it. But I'm telling you, a Final Four, Brad Underwood's going to get this team back to the Final Four. So
It's St. Louis, Chicago. Chicago's hosting regionals, the United Center, which is great,
Yep.
and then Indianapolis. Oklahoma City also gets a opening rounds. So,
but I'm sure St. Louis would be hosting Illinois if they are a top 10, 15 team. Yeah.
right, absolutely.
So, but yeah, and I also as well. We can't not talk about Fletch though before we get in the show. It's what he does, man. He put what 30, 40 pounds on Zvonimir, right?
Right, already.
And
Yeah,
Jaxtis. The guys just all look in such great shape. We don't know, Stojakovic, what he's going to do right away, but I think we know who he's going to be the last couple of months of the year, last half of the year, is the guy that we saw play really good at Stanford and play even better at Cal. So yeah, just so much fun and excitement to get to tomorrow. I wanted to go ahead and say that before Illinois really starts kicking ass early and everybody's going to jump on that train. So I just know the staff is super excited about this team.
Yeah, I love that we get tested early. A week from Tuesday, we get Texas Tech, who is a lot of folks preseason Final Four prediction, best team in the Big 12, and second best probably behind Houston. A team that people think might have the player of the year in JT Toppin. That's going to be a lot of fun. So
and guess what? David Mirkovic is going to be on him. He's going to be bodying him in the post. I guarantee he's going to be guarding him.
And I mean, like, listen, we once we start with Texas Tech, then we get another week, then we get Alabama, and then we get a little more than a week, we get UConn, then we get another week and we get Tennessee. So, and then we get a couple of weeks and we get
it's okay. Missouri, I think with this talent level, dude, let's think about it like this. What does Illinois get out of playing a soft cupcake schedule? I just
nothing.
Like, sure, hey, come on, bring on UT Martin in, or would you rather have would you rather have Texas Tech come in, right? I'm like,
I do like the fact we get Jackson State and Florida Gulf Coast at home. We get to acclimate these guys, figure out where they're going to be. Andrej Stojakovic is a game time decision tomorrow night, so that'll be interesting.
Is Texas Tech the third game?
The third game of the season.
So I'm
FS1, 7:30, Tuesday, November 11th.
Okay, so
not on ESPN for you YouTube TV subscribers.
It's FS1, right?
Yeah,
7:30 or 7.
Yeah, 7:30. We don't have a single game on ESPN from what I'm seeing until the Tennessee game.
Yeah. So with that said, I'm gonna tweet it probably tomorrow, but I think I've got good word that Andrej Stojakovic will play tomorrow. He's just going to be on a minutes restriction. So
sure,
and that's what I'm saying. And if I tweet that tomorrow, that's what's going to happen. So I haven't tweeted it today. I just kind of wanted to let today go through. I know what Brad Underwood has said in his meetings of game time decision, which I'm not saying is false. It's more of just like they just want to make sure he got through today. Okay. With no weird tweaks before they come out and say, like, he is going to start. That probably is what you're going to see tomorrow. Oh, he's in the starting lineup. But I'm saying I feel pretty good he's going to play tomorrow. So he's just going to be on a minutes restriction, and then they'll bump him up probably a little bit more against Florida Gulf Coast, and then he'll be full go, no minute restriction against Texas Tech. Yeah. So what happened with Costanza? Yeah, I'll answer that real quick before we go to final thoughts. I was told 1.5 million reasons why he went to Georgetown.
Fair enough.
And Illinois is not paying Costanza that. So, Will Riley was his own man, and there's a reason Will Riley got what he got. They didn't even pay KJ 1.5. So, good for Georgetown, but Illinois has many, many, many talented guys that they got to pay, and I don't think that he's worth the $1.5 million. So, Deuce's best picks for tomorrow. Oh,
yeah, we got some. Well, we don't.
We do football fade the Deuce Wednesday, but you're talking about basketball first.
Yeah.
Did you see his picks up earlier, Ray?
I did.
Yeah.
I like him. He's on a lot of favorites. I don't know, man. I don't. College basketball is so hard this early. Like I just don't know. I normally don't jump it. I normally am like a late season veteran in college basketball. I'll let things settle a little bit, but I'll fade him on a couple. I think Villanova and Texas cover against BYU and Duke. So,
All right. Well, so that means final thoughts here. Kev, I'll let you go first. We got a lot. We're full swing now, man. We got hoops, football, a lot of excitement in the world of Illini athletics. Women's hoops, first game's Tuesday against SEMO. I'm expecting a big year from them. So your final thought.
I think we need to take a breath a little bit. I would love to see a better turnout from what it looked like on TV. And Ryan, I know you said the crowd was well against Maryland. We're going back to back bowling. We're going back to back bowling for the first time since 2010, 2011. And it's just really such a cool place to be that Illinois football has a chance to win 9 games in a row, 9 games in 2 seasons. I know that SDR said he doesn't think that Barry Lundy's going to leave. I think with this coaching carousel, it's going to get so crazy. You've got really so many great jobs that are now open. Florida State might come open. You're going to have guys from mid-majors taking jobs of guys from P4 conference jobs who move to bigger P4 conference. There's just going to be a ton of movement that I do think that we've got about 3 games left with Barry Lundy. I think we've got about 3 games left with Luke Altmaier. Come out, support these guys. They've been great for our program. They've helped resurrect this program. I think that this is a team that's worth supporting. I think this is a team that is going to finish the season at 9-3. We're going to win 9 games in back-to-back seasons for the first time in school history, in my opinion. And you could take that to the bank, even if I think we'd probably figure out a way to win a bowl game, maybe, because I think Brett cares about that more than some coaches do.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I think Luke's going to play in the bowl game. So I think
they probably have to find some money for him to do it, or he needs to show out against maybe an SEC defense for
I think he will. He's that kind of dude. Yep.
Yeah. So it's just a great place to be for Illinois athletics, and it's super fun for me. Ryan, I know it's fun for you. You got a little bit of a break today. I got to watch my favorite college football team yesterday, my favorite pro football team today, and my favorite college basketball team tomorrow. So a nice little 3 days. It's going to be a 3-0 week. No chance we lose to Jackson State. Just stay healthy and go Illini.
Amen. Amen. So I will say that it was I'm trying to think about this. You were talking about the football program. I hope, more people buy in and show up for Shauna Green's program and their women. I'm definitely going to make a couple of games, take my daughter, 16-year-old, it's always good empowering young women and to encourage them, because she wants to go watch a volleyball game. The women's program, I think, is in great hands with Shauna Green. Their first game's Tuesday. Definitely try to go to one of those if you can. I am happy to see that their season tickets go up every year, and people are coming to support them. Keep doing that and supporting the Illini women's program. I think it's really cool that Kendall Bostic's staying around to do the women's radio
and TV.
Yeah. So she's going to be around the program. And as I said, Adelia McKenzie is engaged to Ben Humrick House again. So I think that's really cool. So she's still staying around Champaign for that. So again, just keep supporting the Illini women. I think it's just better for the whole atmosphere of the program. And, the vibe around Champaign's just been great. But super excited for hoop season. We appreciate everybody. So if you have not subscribed, keep doing that. We appreciate, we're trying hard to produce more content. And as I said, my final thought, Jay Bagan, tomorrow night after Jackson State, tune in. We will be going live on YouTube and X after every men's hoops game. We're going to maybe keep it 20 minutes tops. We're just going to break down the game. We'll give our players of the game, just have a little chat, join in with us like we're doing here. And we'll break it down and, preview the next game, but really break down what we just saw. So Jay Bagan will be tuning in. We'll be coming live after every Hoops game this year. And Kev can join any game he wants. All you got to do, I'll send him a link to every game. Sometimes he'll join. I know he will some, but he travels for work and stuff. So I'm like, do I just want to do it myself? I'm like, Jay Bagan's he was a great co-host when Kev was not able to do it. So I figure I'll have him do it with us. So just look forward.
Yeah, and he's much more. He's a much more of a basketball guy. Like he even said that himself when we talked to him before the Ohio State game. So
awesome. Yeah, we appreciate that. So yes, sir. Keaton Wagler, 15 points tomorrow. Book it from Glue Guy Alinovic, who, by the way, we met at your tailgate last year, Kevin.
Oh, right on.
Yep. So that'll do it. A bunch of excitement on Illini hoops starting tomorrow night. So we will see you, next Sunday, because we've got a special former Illinois, former Maryland Terrapin who's going to be joining the show to preview Maryland. And will Mike Locksley still have his job? Because
former NFL football player.
Yeah. Yes. If Maryland loses to Rutgers Saturday, he might not have his job. So we'll see. We'll see. With that said, Swami out.
ILL.
INI.
Ryan and Kevin, they're spitting the truth. Keeping it real, keeping it orange and blue. Yeah, talk that. Argent like, party. Ryan and Kevin, they're spitting the truth. Keeping it real, keeping it orange and blue. Talking recruit, who's next in line? Line our pride, it's about that time. Orange and blue, yeah, that's how we do. Post-game vibes, breaking it through. Ryan and Kevin, the crew that you knew. Keeping it fresh, keeping it orange and blue. From the court to the field, every play, every step. Debating the cause where the game is at. Who's rising, who's falling, who's making the cut. Line 9 for life, never stuck in the rut. Okay, recruiting buzzer got the inside line. Post-game chatter, they're always on time. Breaking it down, they're the voices you trust. Orange and blue, yeah, they repping for us. Orange and blue, yeah, that's how we do. Post-game vibes, breaking it through. Ryan and Kevin, the crew that you knew. Keeping it fresh, keeping it orange and blue, yeah. So tune in, lean back, let the wisdom flow. Ryan and Kevin with the knowledge they throw. Line 9 Nation, this one's for you. Forever proud, keeping it orange and blue, yeah. Orange and blue.